Well, hey YouTube, Ben Potter here, and today I want to review and talk about the new PRS SE Hollowbody 2 Piezo. I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about why I chose to purchase this guitar. I'm going to talk about how I'm using it in my setup with the Line 6 HX Stomp and a couple other pedals, and then give you some tone demonstrations. So, I'm a worship leader at a relatively small church. We're between 150 and 200 people on a Sunday morning, depending on what time of year it is. And oftentimes, aside from my bass player, I am the only the only other guitar player. So either acoustic or electric. And oftentimes, what that has meant for me is that I either have to choose, look at the set list and choose, okay, am I going to play electric guitar this week or acoustic guitar this week? And most of the time, the answer to that question has been acoustic guitar. As I look at the set, probably most of the songs that we have, if it was just one guitar, acoustic is probably the one that serves the song best. There's a few songs that an electric guitar by itself would probably better serve the song, but a lot of times it's just the acoustic guitar. And so what that's meant is that then for other songs, or maybe the electric guitar, if we're doing one song where the electric guitar might be the better choice, I either have to bring two guitars and kind of strategically plan out the set so that those songs happen around when there's a time where I can change guitars, or I just have to play acoustic on those songs. So that's been kind of frustrating for me as to not be able to have an acoustic guitar player and an electric guitar player. So I've been looking for a while for a guitar and thinking for a while about getting a guitar that can do acoustic stuff and electric stuff, but I haven't really seen a lot out there. The biggest thing that came to mind for me was the Line 6 Variac stuff, but that's something that I really wanted to try and get my hands on before actually making the purchase, and you don't really see those in a lot of guitar shops in a lot of places. So back in June of 2020, PRS announced the SE version of their Hollowbody guitar with a piezo pickup in it, and instantly I got excited. I started watching a lot of reviews that that PRS had sent this guitar out to do reviews on their channel, and listening to the acoustic and the electric sounds. And the acoustic guitar sounds, to me, sounded pretty good, especially when you consider that a lot of acoustic guitars plugged in don't sound that good anyway. Even high-end acoustic guitars, the pickups in them don't sound that great. And so the pickup system in this, from what I could tell, sounded to be, pretty much on par with what you would get from a normal acoustic guitar pickup. And then obviously the electric guitar sounds sounded pretty good as well. Stuff like Fender released the Acoustasonic. I think they did a Telecaster last year and a Strat this year. But the thing with those is that, to me, that's more of an acoustic guitar that's adding one electric guitar pickup on it. Whereas for me, I kind of need the versatility of having both electric guitar pickups as well as the acoustic guitar sounds. And so the Acoustasonic stuff from Fender didn't really grab my attention. After seeing this PRS guitar and doing some research on it and reading comments on it, I did realize that Schecter has a similar guitar to this that is out also. But I decided to go with this one. When I saw this guitar, it checked off a lot of boxes for me. I've been wanting to add a PRS to my guitar collection and knew that probably an SE was probably more my price point. Now this is the most expensive SE that PRS makes, but compared to the Core, it's still a good bit cheaper. So it checked off the PRS box. I don't also currently have a Hollowbody guitar, or I didn't have a Hollowbody guitar in my collection. So this checked off that box for me as well. And then obviously adding the piezo system for me as a praise and worship leader was a huge deal. So then it just kind of became a waiting game for me as to when I was going to be able to pull the trigger, and I finally went ahead and got it. And I have been really happy with it, especially with the piezo sounds. I've been really impressed with how well the piezo pickup in this sounds. I'm gonna do another video. I'm gonna put up another video where I compare the electric sounds of this to my Les Paul, which is the other guitar that I have that has humbuckers in it, and a guitar that you might be more familiar with. And then I'm also going to compare the piezo system in this to the pickup that is in my Taylor 110E that I've had for a while. So you're going to get to hear how the piezo in this sounds against the piezo in my Taylor, how the pickups, the electric pickups in this sound against my Les Paul. I'm going to post that video up in a few days. But so far, I've been really impressed with this guitar. I took it to a jam the other day, and it did really well. And then I played it in church for the first time this morning and was able to switch between those acoustic and electric songs, even in the middle of a song. So I started out a song with an acoustic sound, and then as the song built, I switched to an electric sound. I did that a couple times in our set. And then I was able to use, for a few songs, I just used the acoustic guitar, the piezo sound the whole time. And that to me was the biggest question, was for a verse or something, yeah, the piezo might be able to hold its own. But if it's a song that's an acoustic-driven song and I need to be on the piezo pickup the whole song, is it really going to do the job? And this morning, I think it really did. I think it did a good job. So that's kind of a little bit as to why I got this guitar, and so far my overall first impressions of it. How I'm using it with my rig. So if you've seen my other video on here where I talk about my worship pedal board, I've got a small pedal train board that had and still has, a MXR Custom Comp on it, a Fulltone Fulldrive 2 Mosfet on it that I'm using for my overdrives, and then I have the Line 6 HX Stomp with 2 auxiliary pedals that are plugged into that. One of them is a mini fixed expression pedal that acts as a 4th foot switch for the Stomp and can also change settings on some different effects and stuff. And then the other one is a mini tap tempo pedal. Both of those are made by the company This One's Mine. And I'm still using that setup. I'm still using basically the same patch that was in that video with the matchless HC30 head. The one difference is, instead of using the stock cab, I am using a impulse response that I bought of the matchless cab that has both of the 2 speakers. I forget, I think it's like a H30 and a G12 or something. I forget the exact names of them, but it's a cab that has both of those speakers in it, and the impulse response that I'm using is actually a blend of those 2 speakers from that cab. So that's kind of really the only change as far as that patch goes. But then what I've done is I've created a couple different versions. I've had to be a little bit strategic with my switching on this because I had to add, the way that I'm routing the guitar, I had to add a couple of effect blocks. And so I'm not able to do my acoustic sounds and my electric sounds all in one patch because I had to add 2 blocks for the acoustic sound. Now, eventually, the rumor is that with the 3.0 firmware release of the Helix software, that the HX Stomp is going to expand from 6 blocks to 8. So assuming that the 2 blocks that I had to add, which is an effects loop and a parametric EQ, both of which should be pretty low DSP, I would think. Assuming that both of those will fit into my existing patch within the DSP limit, hopefully I'll be able to expand this and do this all in one patch eventually. But for right now, I'm actually using 3 different patches. So instead of running it in effects mode where you turn on and off effects with each of the 3 foot switches, I'm actually using those 3 foot switches to change the patches, and then I'm using my mini fixed expression pedal to basically give me 2 different versions of each patch. So my first patch, patch A, is the piezo sound, and what I'm doing with that, the guitar has 2 outputs that lets you run your acoustic, the piezo pickup out to one source and the electric pickup out to another source. So I bought a dual guitar cable that has 2 1/4-inch jacks on either side, and I'm running the piezo output into a TC Electronic Bodyrez pedal. There's a demo of that pedal on my channel as well. And I'm running into that pedal just to add some resonance and stuff to the piezo sound. And then I'm going out of that pedal into the effects return left on the Helix. And so on my acoustic patch, the first block is an effects loop left. And what that does is that because the electric sound, the electric output is going through the MXR Custom Comp, the Fulltone Fulldrive, and then into just the regular guitar input on the HX Stomp. So by putting the effects loop first in the chain, what that's doing is it's sending my electric sound out of the send on the helix, which there's nothing plugged into. So in doing that, it's basically killing my electric guitar sound. And then it's receiving what's plugged into the return on the helix, which would be the electric pickup, or sorry, which would be the piezo pickup coming through the Bodyrez is plugged into that return. So by putting that effects loop there first in the chain, it's basically killing the electric sound and grabbing the piezo sound and then sending it through the rest of the chain. So then after that effects loop, I have an EQ block, just doing some EQ. And then I have a delay, which I'm turning on and off with that mini fixed expression pedal. And then I have a spring reverb, and that's my acoustic patch. My two electric patches are, like I said, pretty much the same as the patch that was in my pedalboard video, with the exception of the IR, but I have two different versions. So one of those versions has the delay on already. So when you go right to that patch, the delay's on, and then I'm using the mini fixed expression pedal to switch between a dotted eighth delay and an eighth note delay. And then the last electric patch that I have is just the straight electric sound, no delay or anything. It's just the electric sound with a little bit of spring reverb. And then when I kick in the mini fixed expression pedal, it actually brings in the delay and the ambient reverb that I had, as well as I think a delay with some modulation. So it's bringing in a couple delays. So patch A is my acoustic sound, and I can either have straight acoustic or acoustic with delay. Patch B is my delay electric sound, and I can either have eighth note or dotted eighth delay. And patch C is my just straight up electric sound, and then I can switch into an ambient sound with delay. So that's how I have this running through my pedal board. And you can see a picture of the pedal board. You saw a picture of the pedal board up there on the screen. So now let's get to some tones. All right, so we're gonna start with the electric side. First impressions of these pickups is, especially in comparison to my Les Paul, is they're just more. So these pickups are hotter than the pickups in my Les Paul, which surprised me a little bit because my Les Paul is a Les Paul Tribute, so it has the 498T in the bridge and the 490R in the neck, which are supposedly a little bit overwound humbuckers for Gibson anyway. So the pickups in this are hotter than the pickups that are in my Les Paul, and I think there's kind of more top and bottom end on them. So the Les Paul kind of has a little bit more mid-range, is a little bit more honky sounding. This is kind of a little bit more open sounding. So here is the just clean with the bridge pickup. Sorry, that was not clean. Here is clean with the bridge pickup. And now here is with the Fulldrive 2 from Fulltone. And the middle pickup clean. And with some overdrive. And here is the neck pickup clean. And with some overdrive. Here's now with some delay. Start with the bridge pickup. I've got the overdrive turned on. And the middle pickup. And the neck pickup. All right. Here is the sound of the piezo. I'm going to turn, I have the Bodyrez pedal from TC Electronics off. I have my EQ block off. This is just straight the piezo sound from this guitar. And now here is the piezo sound with the Bodyrez pedal from TC Electronics and with the EQ block in. So you'll notice it's a little bit quieter. I might adjust for that in the video just to kind of even it out a little bit. The EQ block is cutting some frequencies and stuff, and so it is cutting a little bit of volume. I may have even turned the level back on that EQ block too a little bit. I'm not sure, in trying to adjust the volume balance between the acoustic and the electric. And that's one thing that I'll say after using the guitar in church this morning, is that something that's going to take me a little bit of time just to get with the mix of my band, is the kind of the volume balance between my acoustic patch and my electric patches. I'm finding I'm having, just because of where the electric guitar kind of sits in the mix, and because there's that added mid-range with the electric guitar, especially the Fulldrive is kind of based on a tube screamer, so it does have a little bit of a mid kick there to it as well. I'm finding that the electric guitar sound just cuts a lot more than the acoustic guitar sound does, and so I'm having to turn those electric guitar patches down a little bit. So I may have turned just the level on the EQ block down to kind of help with that balance a little bit. I don't remember. So that piezo sound is a little bit softer with those blocks in, but I think that the added resonance and stuff from the Bodyrez definitely helps. And I've used that on my Taylor. Anytime that I play acoustic guitar plugged in, I try and use either the Bodyrez, or I have the 85 from Boss, our church bought the 8010 from Boss. All of those have some sort of acoustic resonance feature on it that you can dial in. And if you're not using something like that playing acoustic guitar, I would really encourage you to check some of those products out, because to me, they make a big difference in the acoustic guitar sound. So other things about the guitar, I'm sure if you've watched other videos, you kind of know the specs. So this is PRS's. They have the, I think it's the 5815 pickups, the S version, so the PRS or the SE version of those pickups are in here. The piezo system is made by LR Bags. I already mentioned that you have the two outputs, so you can do separate routing of your acoustic and your electric signal. Has beautiful flame maple binding on the body, on the neck, and on the headstock. The abalone inlays. This is cosmetically, this is the most beautiful guitar that I have of the lot, although the gold top Les Paul looks pretty nice as well. But this, I think, definitely is the most bling guitar that I have. It plays great. This is the best playing guitar that I have. So it plays really well. Intonation has been pretty solid on it. I've had a few intonation things here and there, but again, new guitar, new strings. This morning, it made it through the set fine, and I didn't have any issues with it. So I didn't play anything with any super big bends in it this morning. So, but once I tuned it up and stuff, I made it through the set fine. So intonation has been pretty solid on it. I think it's definitely been better than the intonation on my Les Paul, which are kind of known for being out of tune. So intonation on it has been good, and so far I am really enjoying this guitar. So if you have any questions about it or anything else that you want to see in a video or something, please let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.